Call the meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Mr. Howard? Here. Mr. Marchman?
Here.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Martray?
Here.
Mr. Martucci?
Here.
Mr. Longow?
Here.
Mr. Renzi? Mr. Sangston? Here. Mr. Pinzel?
Here. You can stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance. Need a motion for the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for treasurer's report.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the payment of general and federal fund bills.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion for the payment of the cafeteria fund bills, please.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment for agenda. First thing I'm going to have is, I know we have a lot of people here for the CTC, so I'm going to have Dr. Bradley give a little presentation first. I think a lot of people may not understand, and he can explain first, and then we'll move into the people speaking.
Thank you, President Panzella, and I thank and I welcome the members of the community, and especially our student members of the community for coming in. It shows your passion and your care for technical education. And one thing we wanted to talk about is today I received approximately 20 emails from students, and every one of those emails were respectful, well-written, during their school day. So they were taking time out of their math class, out of their social studies class, out of health class, gym class, some of their technical arts classes to pause what they were doing in those important classes with their content and with their eligible content and state standards to write emails to the board and to myself. So to me, it proved that it meant a lot to you. And for those teachers to pause their work on state standards to go and allow those students to do that must have been quite a cacophony of noise that they wanted to do that. And I thank the students for speaking to us and speaking to us in a respectful manner through those emails. So on Monday during the work session, the district administration presented to the board a proposal to move academics only from the CTC to the high school. So on one terms, it would be considered to go back to how we were. We looked at several factors. One factor is the number of students that already choose to take their academics at the high school, all of their academics. So it's your social studies, science, math, and ELA or English at the high school. And what we found for next year, we're at approximately, and these numbers aren't solid, but approximately 80 students out of the 240 juniors and seniors for next year chose to stay in this building for all of their academics. It could be for a variety of reasons. They may want to take an elective. They may want an art class, a music class. They may want to be here for social reasons. But 80 students approximately chose already to stay here. Another approximately 15 take all of their academics out of the senior class, the to-be senior class. So the 115 juniors, 15 students take all of their academics on FOLA, or Falcon Online Learning Academy. Out of that, only 21 of those students, the 115 seniors, required either a half a credit of social studies in one ELA or half a credit of physical education in one ELA. So when we looked at that, we looked at the total utilization of that staff. And what I heard from our students today and from the staff is we have great teachers in that building, great academic teachers. The word that was repeated most often was love. These teachers love me. These teachers care about me. And we want to best utilize those teachers so that they have a full-time teaching load in a full-time building, and that love will be in whatever building I know those teachers would be assigned to in the district. So first thing I wanted to clarify was not closing VOTEC, not closing the Career and Technical Center. We find a lot of value in students that go that pathway. We know they're going into workforce without student loan debt. We're aware that they're getting a skill, and not only a skill, they're getting certificates and marketable certificates at the CTC. So there's no talk of shuttering any of the 13 programs. In fact, we'd like to grow those 13 programs. There's a lot of programs that have capacity for more students in them. So those are some of the statistics we're dealing with. And on the other side, we want those students to be exposed to all of the things that we have here in this building. So to be exposed to the academic offerings, the elective offerings. You know, I looked at one of the students that emailed me today had 4 study halls, an ELA class, and then her shop. To me, as a father of a junior, that's a disservice. You know, that's not something that I would want my junior student to be in. 4 study halls, English, and then go into her shop. If you open it up down here, that same student could take an art class, a chorus class, and maybe a history elective like history of rock and roll. If they're at the VOTEC, they don't have that opportunity. So those are some of the numbers and some of the thought process that went through the district-wide recommendation for that to the board. The board is considering it. The board took the passion of the families, the passion of those students into consideration, and the board has asked us to table the 2 motions related to that until Tuesday, and we're going to have a voting session on Tuesday, May 2nd. So we're going to, again, look at everything. Take the thoughts in consideration. Take the passion of those teachers. Knowing that none of those teachers would be furloughed, none of those teachers would be displaced, that they would be in different buildings within the district at the same earning capacity. So those are some of the things we're looking at. Everyone is more than welcome to participate, as is their right, in tonight's meeting. And I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, knowing that the public format of this is public comment, and I'll try to answer as best I can. Again, thank you guys for coming in, and I applaud our students for the way that they expressed themselves today. It was very respectful and very meaningful to me as a superintendent. Anything else, Mr. Panzelli, you'd like me to share?
That's fine. I'll just, if each person speaks, we do give 3 minutes. We are going to do a little something different tonight. If you have questions or anything, we'll have Dr. Bradley answer the questions. Usually it's not a back and forth thing, but we will try to keep it moving and try to keep everybody to their 3 minutes or close, so that we can have each person speak. So the first person that we have is Kayla Goller. It's against moving the academics.
I have some of the things that the kids wrote, if I can bring that up to you. They didn't send an email, can I hand it to you or no?
Oh, sure.
They wanted me to read it, but I don't want to cut into my minutes.
Sure, and again, Ms. Goller, this was, you know, a cross-curricular activity that you were able to work into your lesson, so I applaud that.
Mr. Hirsch, if you give us Dr. Bradley, so if they have any questions, he can answer them by looking at them.
I think they just were kind of right from their heart. So I am Kayla Goller. I am one of the support teachers of the Career Center. I have been there for 16 years. I'd like to say that I'm one of the pioneers. I helped build the city. We started the academics at the Career Center. And I love it. I love to get up and go to work. So I don't know if anybody is fortunate to say that, but I am. I love my kids. I love my coworkers, and I love what we do. We get to see our kids in their element. If you go to a career center, you're there because you're a hands-on learner. And what makes us stand out is we're comprehensive. So if our kids are there and they are struggling maybe in their academics, we can incorporate what they're learning in their program of study into our academic classes. So for example, maybe Mrs. Brigham in math class can teach them about the angles. In geometry class, apply to haircuts that they do down in cosmetology, or incorporate things that they do in carpentry, shapes. And I think the biggest thing that makes us a little rare unicorn is that we are able to see them in their element. We can go back to their shops and build that relationship with the students. They get to feel that they have ownership in our building. Not only are they're definitely there 100% for their shop, but the academics, they get to make it their own. It's their own little high school. So, we are our own sending school, which makes us a little bit different than most comprehensive schools in the area. We have our own AUN, which makes us our own district. So, we are self-funding, from what I understand. I don't know what that would do if we're moved out of academics or moved out there. I have a little bit more information for you. Our students, our graduation rate for the past 5 years has been at a steady 93.2%. The state average in Pennsylvania is 89.8%. So something's working. I don't know. In addition, according to the Ed Insight Early At-Risk Score, the students that may not graduate, there's a top 10 number that you can look at. These are the kids that are at risk for dropping out. Currently on that list, there are 4 seniors. All 4 of those kids are going to graduate, so I don't know what's going on with that, but something's working. 6 of those juniors, a little bit of a rough struggle with their attendance, but they're making it as well. They're all going to progress to the next grade. We talked about family. These kids, this is their family, this is their home, this is where they're comfortable. Yeah, they were writing emails and letters and calling during class. That's because they were crazy today. They don't want to lose their home. They don't want to go somewhere else somewhere. That's where they feel most comfortable, and that's where they want to stay, and so do we. As far as the alternative education program coming up to our building, we don't understand why our building would be uprooted for another program coming in. We have several students that teach FOLA classes.
Minute left.
I'm sorry?
1 minute left.
Oh, okay, I'll go
Sorry.
fast.
I actually gave you.
Play the music, play the music. Okay, we have a lot of our teachers teach FOLA classes. That is saving our district. Hold on, let me get to the numbers here. Okay, so we have currently 70 science students, 53 math, 72 history, and 70 health and phys ed students. Our teachers do not get paid for these students. That's 268 students at a rate of $142.50, saving the district $38,190. They do not pay our teachers for those students. They teach them during class times, where other teachers in other districts get paid for those students. So we're self-funding. Our teachers are not getting paid for those FOLA students. We have a high graduation rate. We don't want to give up our building for another program to come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Abby Barish.
Hello, my name is Abby Barish, and I'm an 11th grade cosmetology student at the Career Center. I can honestly say that this school year has been the best school year of my life. Being at the Career Center as a full-time student has been such an amazing experience. For the first time in my academic career, I feel comfortable actually participating in my academic classes. Prior to this year, I always was afraid to speak up in class because I didn't want to feel stupid in front of everyone. In my CTC academic classes, I finally feel confident enough to be a class leader and to actively participate in my own educational experience. The academic teachers at the CTC truly created an environment that feels like home to many of us. We feel free to be ourselves, and the anxiety of coming to school has disappeared. Please don't take that away from us. Many students that attend the CTC are hands-on learners that learn differently than your typical high school academic student. At the CTC, our academic teachers have created lessons that tie directly into our technical programs. These teachers are helping to prepare us for our future careers in our chosen vocational field. If you vote to close down the academic wing at the CPC tonight, you'll be doing a giant disservice to many students who sadly are forgotten about. Today in school, after getting told this was going to happen, I felt extremely devastated. So I created a petition to show you all how much our classes mean to us. Not just students, parents, peers, even including people who have graduated from the CPC. Since 12:30 today, I've raised over 2,000 votes for us this day, and I'd like to share some of the comments from students and peers. From an anonymous student, the comment states, "If it wasn't for the option to have my academics at the CTC, I wouldn't come to school at all. For someone who feels out of place and all riddled up with anxiety at the high school, the option to be at Tech all day was the saving grace for me, and I know it was for many others as well." From an anonymous parent, the CTC is a much-needed option to ensure all well-rounded workforce is available for Connellsville and the surrounding communities. Not every child is on the same path. CTC ensures everyone can have a quality school experience and a career with quality skill set and living wage. It also helps keep children in school, those that may drop out not challenged in a way that is interesting and offers them a future. Every comment and signing of my petition hopefully shows how much we care about our academics. It maybe proves to you that you'd be making the wrong decision. As SU board members, please vote no on closing the academic wing. Thank you.
Next, we have Heather Niederheiser.
Hi, I'm Heather. I have a son who's a senior and a son who's in 7th grade. So I'm very disappointed that I have to stand here in front of the board again. I'm here because there was an addition added to the agenda at the very last minute wanting to remove the academic program from the full-time VOTEC students. So before we get into the VOTEC academic program, let me tell you about my son. My son struggled in middle school with a large overcrowded environment. My son had horrible anxiety to where he would become physically sick. Tried cyber, that was horrible. My son struggled again academically and socially during COVID, having to go cyber. Now that my son has been part of the VOTEC program, he does not struggle academically at all. My son now has a 4.0 GPA. My son has a fantastic relationship with all of his teachers who love him dearly. And he was recently accepted the IUP for the Criminal Justice Pre-Law program. If my son was in a high school environment, this would not be the case, and there are many other students just like my son. The kids who look forward to the VOTEC program, those who attend the VOTEC, learn differently. The teachers in the VOTEC understand the students. The academic teachers tie their lessons into the technical programs that the kids are attending. It keeps kids interested, it keeps the kids in school, it keeps the kids from dropping out, it keeps the kids focused. Throwing the VOTEC students back into the high school is going to present our district with a whole new range of issues that we are just not prepared for. Positives for keeping the full-time VOTEC program is improved career readiness, increased engagement and motivation, more personalized learning, stronger connection with the community, increased opportunities for college and career. I truly hope you listen to my thoughts, facts, and opinions and save the academic program at VOTEC. This board should be for the kids. Do not put money matters over the well-being of our students. And to the community, my fellow parents, the staff, and the students, I want to let all of you know that if this board does decide to remove this program from our district, we do have options. So let me lay those out for you, just in case we do have to fight this. One, we are protected by the PA Sunshine Act. There's no reason why this board had to sneak in this addition without more notice. The only time issue should be an addition is if there is an emergency. It is a requirement that members of the public have adequate time to prepare and attend meetings and to provide full transparency in the decision-making process. 2, we can have a judicial review if we need to go that route. 3, board reconsideration. Or 4, we can have a voter referendum, collecting signatures for a certain number of registered voters in the school district and submitting a petition to the board to hold a referendum on the decision. And one last thing, to all the voters in this district, keep in mind that there are members on this board that we can choose to keep or remove on May 16th. So So pay attention to what's important to them and how they vote. When it's time to vote for a school board member, ask yourself if they're really here for our children. Thank you. Please vote to keep our VOTEC academic program for these kids. And I do have a question for
Dr. Bradley?
Joe?
Dr. Bradley.
Joe's fine.
Okay, so I don't know if this is true or not, but rumor had it that the VOTEC space where the academic programs are now, that it would be used for alternative students. I would like to know if that's true, because if that's the case, I don't feel like it's safe at all to put alternative kids with behavioral issues, learning issues in that environment when there are weapons that are in protective services, when there are knives in culinary, when they have access to, big machinery. Like, I don't feel like that is safe, and that's going to present a whole nother thing of issues, so, thank you.
Sure, it's a good question. There's a separate proposal to establish a step-up and step-down program, which is for students that have violated our code of conduct. Right now, students that violate our code of conduct, after so many opportunities to show that they can be a member of our school system and be in the general population of our school system, are typically sent to an outside agency, outside school, and we lose that student. We don't have our teachers educating, and the love that is just you're hearing here, that student might not have that love anymore, and our students are in an outside entity, typically on a van for 45 minutes to an hour. This would be a step-up program or a step-down program for students that have violated our code of conduct, and it would be utilization of that space, and also it would allow us not to furlough a few teachers. So it would preserve a few teachers that would be furloughed or be displaced if we didn't have the alternative education system. In a rough estimate, it would save the taxpayers of the Collinsville School District about $300,000 if that were to happen, and that's just one piece. And just to address, the full aspect of it, I do agree that having full within the day and having our teachers teach those classes during the day is definitely a benefit. However, we also know that if a teacher is teaching face-to-face, all the attributes that we hear, that they're specializing their lesson, they're caring for their students, they're making sure their students pass, those attributes that happen face-to-face would happen 7 periods a day rather than 3 or 4. So, we're looking to get we have a great staff, very professional staff, and we're looking to get the most out of that staff. So to reallocate those into a proper setting where they would teach face-to-face more students would be an opportunity that we would look at, and we have a responsibility for all of the district to look at those opportunities, because at the end of the day, we have to look at the financial standpoint of the district as well. As a dad, I want the love, and we have to look at our ability to do things. So I appreciate those comments. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, I believe it says Darren Williams? Jerome, sorry.
Hello, my name is Jerome Williams. I'm a current full-time student at the CTC. I'm a 4.0 student and treasurer of student council, and having been on the tech for 3 out of the 4 years I've been in high school. I believe CTC should still offer academics instead of being turned into an alternative school. The first thing I want to go over are the CTC academics. Since the CTC only offers academics to grades 11 and 12, it is a small school that if a student is struggling in their class, teachers will have the time to help them. Only the teacher that teaches that course are learning support teachers that are there well. Teachers at the high school have 15 to 30 students per class and don't have many makeup days during the school year where students can make sure that they understand what is being taught or caught up on schoolwork. The main concern I want to go over are safety issues that come to mind if the academic wing of the CTC is going to be turned into alternative schooling. Grades 6 through 12, that means 11-year-old children and 18-year-old young men and women using the same facilities. Before I go any further, let's remember that those kids in alternative school have been transferred to that alternative school for some type of behavioral issues. Back to what I was saying, every student who rides a bus and goes to the TTC has to walk up and down the hill, and in the morning unsupervised. That means there can be a lot that go wrong, several fights happening, students walking off school grounds and going somewhere other than school. Also, how easy it would be for one of those students to sneak out of class into a shop program and grab something to use as a weapon. Keep in mind, students that only go to the CTC for shop programs are still in the same building. The last thing I want to go over about safety is how safe students will feel being in the same building with kids that are for alternative schooling. I know I would be worried constantly about the issue I just brought up and might deter students from wanting to go to CTC. Last topic I would like to mention is what will happen to teachers, aides, lunch ladies, and custodians who work there. Most of them will lose their jobs in the building they love to work in. They'll either steal someone else's job in the school, leaving that person to maybe relocate to find a new job, or the same that happened to faculty at the CTC. Please really consider the points mentioned and keep the academic wing at the CTC. And I have one more question. Is it going to be grades 6 through 12 that will go to this alternative school if this does happen?
So first of all, nice comments, and congratulations on your work so far throughout the CTC. So the proposal is 6 through 12. Right now, we've been looking at having 2 professional staff members there that would receive some specialized training. Is there risks involved? There's risks involved every day we walk into this building, in any buildings. So the proposal was 6 through 12. We looked at our middle school and the code of conduct violations that we had, and not having an option outside of an outside alternative education. So one of our goals became to find some sort of option for students that aren't following our code of conduct, but we don't want to put outside of our school. So we still want to retain that love for those students and be Connellsville students, and this was one of those opportunities. So the proposal was 6 through 12, correct?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we have Susan Cole.
I really don't have anything really prepared, but my grandson goes to the CTC. He's a junior this year. And I just want to say he has done a wonderful job this year. His grades have been better than they have ever been. I think it's a wonderful education environment, and I just don't think it's a good idea to take the academics away from there. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Thank you.
Next we have Sonia Bentley on funding.
Thank you. I don't really have anything prepared either. I just had a couple questions as to why, with the exception of the Sunshine Law, the community would not have known about this vote taking place. So having worked with the Perkins grants in the past, having done them for the district, and working at the CPC and personally witnessing the teaching skills and relationships with the student, I had a couple questions. Since the Perkins grant is a federal grant, I wanted to know how the building would be sanctioned off to provide this additional education. And do you have an approximate number of students that would be the alternative educated kids? Would you be taking from the kids that are blossoming up there to house less than the ones that are benefiting? That's, to me, is a very crucial question. Secondly, I don't know how you would be able to sanction that off without misappropriating Perkins Fund's money. I guess mainly I'm just very upset with the fact that There was a meeting on Monday. Nobody knew anything about this. These poor kids scrambled. The teachers are scrambling. That is an awesome school up there. They have wonderful programs, and the kids are productive when they leave there. That's all I need to say on this issue. Thank you.
So thank you. I'll do my best. I'm not an expert on the Carl Perkins grant, and I appreciate that you have more expertise than I do. That the Carl Perkins grant is related to and associated with the SHOC programs. So there's no opportunity, there's no talk, there's no initiative, there's no proposal from the administration to the board to change any of the SHOCs. The academic programs are funded by the district. So in essence, for lack of a better word, the district pays tuition to the VOTEC for the academic side. It's kind of a one hand washes the other situation. And we spoke about, I spoke a little bit about staffing. Under this proposal, no staffing changes occur as far as people being furloughed, whether it's food service or whether it's custodians, whether it's security, anything like that. So that's how, I can answer those questions the best I can at this point. Thank you. Good, absolutely.
When there's this alternative education for the day, all the staff is handling the alternative students. Aren't they known to be special training, special certification, certain degrees? Who will pay for that, the salaries will pay of the additional staff?
So there's no special certificate. I would hope to be able to have staff that is trained with students with special needs and behavioral issues, and that would be borne by the district. We wouldn't expect the employee to have that. Some of the savings that could be reaped by bringing those students back home could be utilized for some of those trainings. That's the answer for that. As far as that staff, the proposal that was presented had one general education teacher and one special education teacher with perhaps the opportunity for an aide if needed. And that's where we're at with one special education teacher and one general education teacher at this time.
For approximately how many students?
10, just rough number, 10. Right now, I think we have about 10 students that were placed in alternative education that could have really been better served by us and felt that love that these students felt. They could feel that they would have that, they were placed in outside placements and I would suggest about 10.
We're going to move our entire academic lane for 10 students.
No.
I'm sorry, that's really confusing me.
So those are rough numbers, and they're not really married together. If the alternative education placement, the step up, step down program that I'm referring to, would not pass, it wouldn't have to. My recommendation would be still to have the academics considered at the high school. It would better utilize the staff that if you took the FOLA off of their schedules and took study halls off their schedule, we would much better utilize that staff at the secondary level at the high school or at CAMS. And in the attributes I hear, all those positive qualities, I don't think that those teachers would not do them wherever they worked. So everything I hear and everything I witness, I think, I would hope, and maybe it would be a challenge to those, to our CAEA members to make sure that would happen, that if they're in the high school, they're going to show that same passion, they're going to show that same love, that same care, they're going to take ownership of those students like they did at the Career and Technical Center, and I think they would, I really do. So, thank you.
Next, we have Cecilia Driscoll.
Hi, thank you very much for giving me this time to speak today. I'm here, I started out, I was coming to talk about our education, our academic performance, and then CTC came up today. I was here on Monday, not a word ever mentioned. I believe this was very sneaky, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt. But I want to lay out some numbers that I found. in the school district, we are ranked in the 2020-2021 school year, we are ranked number 482 out of 677 districts. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. We spend more money than the average school across Pennsylvania for our students' education, and we are in the lower 20 percentile of educational attainment. That's unacceptable. Would any of you accept that in your family, in your children's education, or in your job if you were hiring professionals of that sort? Would you accept 23% attainment in math? Would you accept that? As an employer, would you hire a student who graduated from Coxwell Area School District who couldn't give you change, who couldn't count change? That's happening. I've had that happen to me in local businesses. It's atrocious. But anyway, just to let you know that our math proficiency is 23%. The state average is 38%. I must say the state average is terrible too, but being at 23, it's worse. Our reading and language proficiency is 39%. The PA state average is 55%. Not acceptable. I was looking at the CTC program, and I found an interesting, here in our Coxwell Area District, with 80% graduation rate. Let's talk about CTC. CTC has a math proficiency of 24%. They have a language proficiency of 37%. Both are higher than our average in the Coxwell Area School District. They also have a graduation rate of between 90 and 94%. Also higher than Coxwell Area School District's totals are, averages are. And you want to take that away from these students? That's terrible. They are thriving. They're doing a better job there than we're seeing across the whole district. You can't do that to these students. You can't do it to the teachers. You talked about the teachers coming down here. How are those teachers, are you going to say that they're going to have the same students here? Or are they going to be general population and have lots of students, and maybe their students never see them again? Those are things you have to think about. But I'm going to throw this one out to Dr. Bradley. You said that by moving this down here, we would have a savings to the taxpayers. I am a taxpayer. I do not have any children left in the school district. They've all graduated. But I am a taxpayer, and I'm a concerned citizen, because what happens here happens to our community. So, about CPC, you said that moving the children down here would save the taxpayers about $300,000 per year. You have, right now, you are spending, make the numbers right here, it's over $17,000 per year per student in this district. Do you know that up at CTC, you are only spending $8,358 per student? So when you move them down here, if I take that difference of $9,065 dollars per year, and I take it times the 515 students that are currently in the CTC program, that would be a cost of $4,668,475. That is a far cry from the $300,000 savings. You are not looking at the taxpayer's best interest. You are not looking at the student's best interest, and that is an atrocity. As a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, that's unacceptable. And each of you bear the burden to that. You need to be held accountable. And it's time for you to start thinking about the taxpayers and the students and what is best for them, not what is best for your own ideas or your own ideologies. Think about our students, and thank you for your time, and please catch up on that math.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate those comments. Right now, the district, so the way it operates is the Collinsville Career and Technical Center has its own AUN, which we mentioned. It's not its own district, it's a component of the school district. We are not a sending school CTC, we're a one district CTC that operates under the auspices of the Collinsville School District. Right now, for the past 3 years, we average about $3 million of district funds that funds the CTC. So the number is skewed a little bit because we actually balance the CTC's budget every year with district funds. The grant, the Perkins grant funds the shop programs. You know, with that said, the number that I stated was for the alternative education, the step up, step down students coming back. If we had the educational component, when we tie in the academics, we have 7 teachers that we could have full-time teachers right now in other buildings where we're paying them their full wages and salaries, and then they're earning it. They're absolutely 100% earning their full salaries and wages right now. However, they're not teaching face-to-face for a full teaching load, and I much rather hearing the passion and hearing what great jobs they do, I would much rather have them face-to-face with students in whatever building it would be in. And I would also urge us to take a look at the school performance profile. And what you'll find is the school performance profile at the high school, the math, algebra keystones, the literature keystones, and the science, biology keystones at the high school, you're going to find a trend that they're better than at the CTC. So the goal would be that if the teaching component could receive the same access to the teachers in both buildings, and they could collaborate, maybe the passion and love that we hear that happens up at the CTC could be modeled in our other buildings, and some of the educational acumen in a heterogeneous class would happen in here at the high school or at CAMS. And also I know that Mr. Witt would like to address the sunshine components that have been mentioned. I know we don't try, but we do comply with the Sunshine Act, and we just wanted to comment on that as well. And we very much appreciate it. This is a great conversation. Thank you.
Just one question, Dr. Bradley, read it. What was the total number of students? Because I know she said 500 and something.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So next year there are roughly 240 full-time students that would be juniors and seniors. So there's 240. We open up to our sophomores, roughly another 115. And then our freshmen go through a cycle program where they are exposed to a couple different shops, and then they choose a shop that they want to test out and test the water. But you can be a completer by going through 3 years of a class. You can be a completer by going through 2 years if it's a little bit more intense. And that completer designation is our CTC students can attest that that's the goal. To be a completer with your NOCTI exams and whatever OSHA certificates and whatever other certificates in that industry you can get, that's kind of the goal.
I just wanted to jump in to address the Sunshine Act issue. It was mentioned a few times for the public, the board, and the administrators. So there's 3 requirements under the Sunshine Act. One would be that meetings that are public meetings, they're advertised at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. 2 would be that the agenda for that meeting is made available to the public on the school district's website at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. And then 3, the district is required to offer an opportunity for public comment before any action items that are taken by the board at any public meeting. So I did want to address that. I did confer with the board secretary and confirmed that those 2 CTC items were on the agenda at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting tonight. So they would have gone on yesterday afternoon prior to the 24-hour limit. And certainly the public comment that's being offered tonight for the board's consideration complies with the requirement that public comment be made available as well. So just for everybody's edification, the Sunshine Act has been complied with the inclusion of those items on the agenda tonight. My understanding obviously is that the board is holding those though until for additional consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Next we had Connor McLaughlin.
Hello, my name is Connor McLaughlin. I'm in the carpentry program at the CAC CTC. I've been in carpentry for 3 years now, and this is the first year. that I've been able to enjoy my academics at the Career Center. In the past, I was a student that had gotten into some trouble. I was trying to find my place, maybe figure out where I belong. Well, I think I have found my place at the Career Center. I had not had any issues this school year, and I am nominated for the National Technical Honor Society. I feel my teachers understand me. They can see if I'm getting frustrated and work with me to help me calm down. They are patient and kind, and they make our content relatable to what we can do in our shop classes. The materials students learn at the CACTC set them up for success and help them become great adults. My brother graduated from the CACTC, and he makes 6 figures and has a very good future ahead of him. And in my knowledge, I thought the school board was supposed to work for the community, not against it. And also, I got a question for Joseph. Are there any other spaces you can consider for the alternate education program?
I mean, we could explore other spaces, absolutely, and there's other opportunities for other spaces or none. We just keep sending the students outside and we don't have them and we bus them somewhere else, and there's actually other things to be considered.
Also, my teachers will teach electives. They will teach anything. They are the best. Thank you.
Next we have Guinevere Albright.
Hello, my name is Guinevere Albright. I am an 11th grade student in the Culinary Arts program. I have been in that program for 2 years now. My grades are higher than I've ever been at the high school. I could not fit in at the high school. I've gone cyber each year I was at the high school. Granted, I did go cyber this year for a little bit due to personal issues, but I feel more comfortable. The teachers are very understanding. They will help you through everything you need to do. And I'm worried about if we are out at the high school that, yes, they will be like that to other students in schools and everything else. But what does that mean for us? We won't have that same one-on-one and how slow they are with us and them understanding us the way they do. Yes, other students will, but the juniors, many of the seniors, and the seniors graduating this year, and classmen behind us will not have the opportunities and the experiences we are having now. And I just don't think that's right, because it's been years that this has been going on. My sister graduated in 2018. She did it all day. And since then, all of us have done it. So it's just, I think that the newer classmen that are coming up and seeing everything, I think it's a very good opportunity for everybody. And Mr. Rosensteel, he makes food for the mornings for kids who don't eat those lunches or the school food. If they're late, they can buy a sandwich or anything like that, and we sell drinks throughout the day. But if people are moved down, then we're not going to make as much money for the shop, which means we can't do as much things for the public and all that. So that's kind of a concern as well. And like everybody else is saying, with the kids, possibly getting a hold of something, just weapons or knives or heavy machinery, like somebody else said, it's very dangerous, and I don't know how many people will feel comfortable still being in that school, being that they had been moved to an alternative school already. Thank you.
That's all we have for agenda items. Yep.
So I'm trying to understand, so 10 kids, we'd rather have that are ages 11 to 19 walking outside and going to this building that are known trouble students, right? But if you're looking about students, say Ron, who had 2 periods of study hall, and you want to get more
That's an honest question. I mean, it's a good question, and we have about 80 students projected for next year that choose to stay here all year. I mean, you know, all day, and then they walk up for their shop. We have approximately 80 students that say, hey, I want to be in this building already. Out of the 240 projected for next year, we have about 80 that say we want to do that. In your example, they don't want to be in 2, 3, 4 study halls a day. So that does happen, and they're permitted to do that. Logistically, it makes it tough for one elective. If I want to take, I want to take a course class, logistically it makes it a little bit more difficult. It does happen, and it's not only for the opportunity to have an in-house step-up, step-down program. It's also the opportunity to better utilize the existing staff. So perhaps the staff that is so well received at the Career and Technical Center, the staff, the teachers, the 4 core teachers could work with their colleagues on techniques to work with students, the technical students, to show that passion to, if our teachers in this building aren't doing that, maybe that's an opportunity that we have to recognize that the teachers at the VOTEC are doing something different, and what are they doing, and why wouldn't it be good enough for all of our students? Why wouldn't that love and that caring and that atmosphere that they build at the VOTEC, why can't we have that here? So that would be an opportunity for our Career and Technical Center teachers, the 4 core teachers, to share with their colleagues at this building is how to build that and how to build that trust and go from there. So thank you. Appreciate the input, guys. Thank you.
That's all we have for public comment. Moving to athletics, Mr. Renton.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval to accept the resignations of Brian Schaefer, head junior high baseball coach, and Paul Michaels, assistant junior high baseball coach, contingent upon being hired as head junior high baseball coach, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following supplemental contracts contingent upon receipt of a signed contract no later than 1 month after issuance, including posting of the position if the contingency is not met. Head varsity girls volleyball coach Stacy Firestone. Head junior high baseball coach Paul Michaels. Assistant junior high baseball coach Robert Renzi Jr. and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Yep.
1 abstention.
Request approval to solicit bids for fall sports equipment and supplies, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all we have. Mr. Martucci? Mr. Evans? That's all I have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renton. Moving to buildings and grounds, Mr. Layton.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the following event and building use requests supporting facilities utilization in accordance with policy 707. And I'd like items 1 through 12 put on the minutes, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Substitute addition, request of conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following addition to the custodial substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year. And then Jeffrey Dahl, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Kokenar, do you have anything to add? Mr. Martucci? Yes, sir. Mr. Kirch? No. Mr. Bingham? That's all we have. Thank you,
Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Lee.
Yeah.
Maybe you, Mr. Kersey, I was coming on the back side of Cam's up there, and that gravel stop up there, do we know that that's missing up here on the, across the, you might call it fascia board piece, but it's all off up there. Is that most, maybe it happened during that windstorm? Cam's on the back side, on the right side when they're facing. Yeah, I call it gravel stop, that's what they used to call it. But there's two big pieces out there. I just wonder if that happened during that windstorm, if we're taking care of that. Check it out and see, because I hate a little more water. If we get a driving rain, water gets back up in here. You can check it out. Great. Thank you.
Moving to Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Monjo.
We have nothing on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Monjo. Moving to Collinsville Area Career and Technical Center, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzo. Request approval to hold a PA state special class at the CACTC starting May 2nd, 2023, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday and Thursdays. Cost of the student participation is $200 for category 1 and 2, $250 for category 2. Tuition costs will cover all expenses associated with the class, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hold the annual junior firefighter boot camp at the CACTC on June 12th through 16th, 2023. It will include students from the district ages 14 through 17. Funding for this event is paid from a grant from Williams Energy of $2,400, no cost to the district, and I so move.
The motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Gary Matthews to hold an open house on Saturday, May 6th, 2023, to auction off senior shed projects. Auction will take place outside of the carpentry classroom. Proceeds will go to recover material costs, and any profit made will be put back into the student account. There is no cost to the district, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Community service project, Trudy Nicholson, instructor, and Amy Nicholson, age, and approximately 20 students will participate in the Camden Park cleanup event on May 3rd, 2023. The school van will be used for transportation, no cost to the district, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Hospitality State Board Fund testing. Request approval for Trudy Nicholson and approximately 7 senior students to take their cosmetology state board exam in Greensburg on May 4th, 2023. The school van will be used for transportation and the cost of certification. $980 will be paid through the Perkins 13-1390-610-661 39-85-0.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
CTC restructuring, the board is pulling this motion from the agenda for additional consideration, and I so move.
Motion. Can you vote on that? Okay. All right. So that will be tabled for the further consideration. Thank you.
And just a point of order, Mr. Panzella, just to announce there'll be an advertised meeting for May 2nd to address that issue.
Thank you.
That's all.
Voting meeting, correct. The voting meeting open to the public with all the stipulations with Robert's Rules of Order and the Sunshine Act, and part of the Sunshine Act being public comment, correct?
That's all I have, Mr. Panzilla. Mr. Lee?
Nothing. Thank you.
Mr. Saints? Mr. Chan? That's all we have, Mr. Panzilla. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer. Moving to curriculum, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 13A, ELA K-5. Request approval to enter a 6-year agreement with Savis for Mayview Literacy at a cost of $582,516.89, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Pagano?
Yes.
Mr. Horstman?
No.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Martre?
No.
Mr. Martucci? Mr. Montiel? Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mrs. Sangster? Mr. Panzella?
Yes.
Item 13B, literacy intervention. Request approval of the agreement with Voyager Sports Sophist Learning for Language Live 2.0 to the Collinsville Area Middle School at a cost of $7,038.90 to be paid for from the APR SRA TSI 2.5.5 set aside grant, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13C, U.S. History. Request approval to purchase a one-year subscription of U.S. History online textbooks and teacher editions for the Collinsville Area Middle School at a cost of $8,244 to be paid for from the ARP ESSER funds, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13D, bids. Request approval to solicit bids for curriculum materials for all algebra and geometry courses, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13E, curriculum committee meeting. Committee meeting was held April 12, 2023 at 10 a.m. That's all I have. Mr. Renzi. Mr. Montiel. Dr. Coons. Okay.
Actually, Dr. Coons is excused tonight and nothing from her report. Thank you, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Mr. Harshman, I just have one question. Did something change from 13A from Monday to Wednesday?
No, why? We just put it on the agenda, correct? Monday night was just putting it on the agenda.
Right, but I mean,
And I thought about it, and I voted accordingly.
Okay.
I mean, is there a problem with that?
It would be nice if you maybe would have told the rest of us that...
Why it passed?
I know, but it'd be nice the rest of us to know your opinion and maybe...
That's my opinion. I can expect, I can
I
say that
understand.
during the meeting.
I'm just saying, you're the chairman. I mean, I'd appreciate it if you tell us if there's a situation or a problem so we know.
There was no problem. I just discussed it, looked at it.
The only reason I voted no on it is because I don't care to get into these long extended agreements with anybody, because then if we don't like it and it's not working for our staff, then we're stuck.
Mr. Martre, I'm just asking the committee right now. I just wanted to make sure that there was nothing that changed from Monday to Wednesday.
I'm allowed to make comments here.
I know.
I was elected in this.
I'm asking right now, I'm talking to Mr. Harshman, not to you. So thank you. All right, moving to cyber, Mr. Martre.
Nothing this evening for cyber. Mr. Cookner, you have anything? No. Mr. Mongiel? Mr. Ghost? That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martre. Moving to federal programs, Mr. Mongiel.
Item 15A, request the approval of the purchase of materials from Wilson Language for kindergarten through second grade elementary summer school at a cost of $14,588.01 to be paid from the ARP ESSER funds, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15B, request the approval for Mary Ann Hensel, Andrea Anderson to participate in the Wilson Pretender Development Training at a cost of $865 per person for the first level and $325 for an additional level of training, and the hours of training to be determined to be paid from Title II Professional Development Funds, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15C, request the approval of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Private Industry Council, Head Start, and Early Head Start of Fayette County from April 14, 2023 through April 14, 2024. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And Mr. Martucci, do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Mr. Martrell? That's all we have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Molingelo. Moving to Finance, Mr. Renzi.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the attached requisition orders and to authorize District Business Office to process orders and payments, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the proposal for the audit services from Mark C. Tremley for the Collinsville Area School District and the Collinsville Area Career and Technical School as proposed, as listed below. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following donations from the Bible Club, the CAHS Musical Club, and the CACTC Auto Mechanics, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for the health insurance rate increases through the Allegheny County Schools Health Insurance Consortium, effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 for the following plans. Performance Blue PPO, 14% increase. Performance Blue EPO, 14% increase. Standard Dental, 3% increase. Davis Vision, 3% increase, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the budget transfers, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We had a committee finance meeting on April 18, 2023. That's all I have. Anything else, Mr. Lake?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Hartsman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Robinson?
And just to repeat that for Mrs. Routson, our budget work session, May 11th at 6 p.m. It'll be as per the Sunshine Act, this will be advertised as well. It'll be in large group instruction area 121, classroom 121 here at the high school, and it's the opportunity for the public to give comments in the board to learn more about the budget. And it's a workshop, non-voting session in May. Thank you. Just to repeat what Ms. Routson said.
Thank you, Mr.
Work on
Robinson.
that.
That's all I have, Mr. Penzold.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to food service, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval for Matt Triffenoff, Director of the Food Service, to attend the annual School Nutrition Association of Pennsylvania, Kalahari Resort, Pocono Manor, PA, July 31st through August 3rd, 2023, an approximate cost of $1,850 for registration, lodging, meals, and travel, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Cafeteria substitute list requested additional approval contingent upon successful submission, screening, and background checks following addition to the cafeteria substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year. Kathy Savage and Bonnie Gage, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Panzella, Mr. Mortray?
No.
Mr. Triffenoff?
So for our public and for our families and concerned citizens watching at home, Mr. Triffenoff from our food service director through his professional organization has a scholarship available. The guidance counselors in each of the secondary buildings will be made aware of that, and they can contact those guidance counselors. It's targeted towards Mr. Triffenoff. It's targeted for individuals going into food service, culinary arts, whether they're at the Career and Technical Center or in the regular high school. And there's monies available for them, and the application process can be started at our guidance offices, and Mr. Triffenoff will also champion those efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to personnel review and liaison, Mr. Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Just for informational purpose, we had a committee meeting was held on April the 18th, 2023 at 9 a.m. 18B is a retirement request, approval to accept the retirement of Francis McLaughlin, teacher, effective June the 2nd, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to waive the return to work after sabbatical requirements and accept the retirement of Shelley Murphy, teacher, effective June the 2nd, 2023, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of David Clark, technology, effective June the 30th, 2023, and to advertise and post for the position, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Karen Pistorius, cafeteria worker, effective June the 9th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Carol Schultz, cafeteria worker, effective June the 1st, 2023, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Kimberly Nostich, cafeteria worker, effective June the 1st, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request the conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following addition to the professional substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year. Marissa Flanders, emergency, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Shonda Porter, support personnel, effective April 7th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Hannah Barassi, support personnel, effective April 28th, 2023, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Bridget Camp, teacher, to attend the Spring House of Delegates in Philadelphia on May the 19th, 2023, with cost to be reimbursed by the CAEA, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Rachel Skiles, support personnel, to take up to 10 intermittent unpaid days as requested for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Bonnie Harshman, support personnel, to take up to 10 intermittent unpaid days as requested for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Samantha Hahn, support personnel to take up to 10 intermittent unpaid days as requested for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Rebecca Nicolo, support personnel to take up to 15 intermittent unpaid days as requested for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Trudy Steyer, support personnel to take up to 10 intermittent unpaid days as requested for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request a conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening with background checks of the following additions to support personnel substitute list for the 2022-2023 school year. Kate Cavallo, and I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I apologize, that probably should be Katie. So, request approval to enter in an agreement with American Fidelity and Administrative Services for tracking and reporting services related to patient protection and the Affordable Care Act compliance effective July the 1st, 2023 at a cost of $13,800 with an optional renewal after 12 months. And I so move.
Motion is second. Was this an addition?
Correct, in addition, within the 24 hours.
Okay.
Within the 24-hour notice.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I think these next two, Mr. Penzola, will be...
Just point of order, there was an abstention. I just need to make sure it was recorded. There was an abstention. I just want to make sure it was recorded in the minutes.
You okay?
Yep, go ahead.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Crystal Firestone, teacher, effective June the 2nd, 2023, and I so move. And this is an addition.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the retirement of Delicia Mazie, teacher, effective June the 2nd, 2023, and this is also an addition. And I so move.
Second.
So with respect to this, just as a point of order, so this is accepting a retirement, which is not anything contractual, but something we're required to do. Procedurally, what you'll need to do, because it was not on the agenda at least 24 hours in advance, is to make a motion to add that to the agenda for consideration, and then actually make the formal motion itself.
So you'd like me to make a motion to add this, what I'm going to read onto the agenda?
Yes, that's correct.
And I so move. I need a second, right?
Can you read that again?
Motion is second. What was the name again, Mr. Layton?
Delicia Mazie, D-E-L-I-C-I-A. Could be pronouncing it wrong. Mazie is M-A-I-E-S-E. Want me to read the whole motion again, Mr. Whitman? It's just a retirement. We didn't want to hold off.
If you've already read the motion, you'll just want to reiterate that you're making the motion again after the motion has been passed to add it to the agenda.
So go ahead and read the motion again.
So we had a first and a second. All those in favor to add this tonight? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I'd like to request approval to accept the retirement of Delicia Mazie, teacher, effective June the 2nd, 2023. And this is addition. If anybody has any questions, then I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Does anybody have any public comment on that? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Renzi, you have anything to add? Mr. Harshman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Skopenauer? Dr. Bradley?
No, thank you for all the work in guiding that committee and to our Human Resource Department for the work involved in all, not only retirements, but filling the vacancies. We know that the application pools are not very deep, but we do, that group does their best to uncover every candidate possible. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzella, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Martre, would you like to?
Thank you, Mr. Panzel. These are PSBA policy revisions. This will be the first reading for the following: 137 home education programs, 137 AR0 home education program requirements, 137 AR1 parent guardian letter, 137 AR2 curriculum materials request form, 137.1 extracurricular participation by home education students, 137.1 AR0 extracurricular participation by home education students, and 137.1 AR1 weekly eligibility report. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
19B is PSBA policy additions for the first readings of the following. 137.2, participation in co-curricular activities and academic courses by home education students. 137.2 AR0 weekly eligibility report. 137.2 AR-1 prioritization and placement of participation in co-curricular activities and academic courses. 137.3 participation in career and technical education programs by home education students. And 137.3 AR0 prioritization and placement for participation in career and technical education. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye.
No.
Roll call.
Vicki, I'd also like to change my vote to no on the first reading.
These are just the first.
We don't need roll call. Change my vote.
Okay. We'll do roll call on 19A first.
Mr. Omenauer?
Yes.
Mr. Marshman?
Yes.
19A.
19A, yes.
Mr. Lee?
No.
Mr. Martre?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci? Mr. Wonjel?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mr. Panzera?
Yes.
Motion carries. 19B.
Now we'll have a roll call on 19B, please.
Mr. Marshman?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
No.
Mr. Martre?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci? Mr. Wonjel?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mr. Omenauer?
Yes.
And Mr. Panzera?
Yes.
Okay, one thing, gentlemen, these are the first readings of these, so if you have any questions about any of them, you can contact Dr. Bradley or myself, and we'll go over it with you. And our meeting was held on April 19th, 2023, 10:30 a.m. And that's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martre. Moving to safety and security, Mr. Martucci.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Anything I had tonight with we had a committee meeting was held on March 31st, 2023. That's all I have. Mr. Renzi, anything that? Mr. Kovac. Mr. Horvath. That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. Sticking with you with special education, please.
Thanks again, Mr. Panzella. Request for an agreement between Chestnut Ridge and Collinsville to contract for 2 behavior support specialists for Collinsville Area School District's in-house extended school year program at a total cost of $5,700 paid through ARP ESSER funds. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request for the agreement between the Collinsville Area School District and Chestnut Ridge Counseling Services for educational services and new directions for the 2023-24 school year at a cost of $140 per day per student, which is an increased cost of $15 per day for the 2022-23 school year agreement. So I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to advertise for Tier 3 ELA support materials. And I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Lee. Mr. D'Amico, you in there? That's all, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. Moving to student services, Mr. Harshman.
you, Mr. Panzella. Student Services, 22A Travel, in accordance with policy number 121. I'd like to spread items 1 through 24, and I so move.
Second, motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 25, request approval for Amy Riccio and approximately 10 students with the Bible Club to be participating in the National Day of Prayer and event in the city of Connellsville and Veterans Square on May 4th, 2023, and noon to 1 p.m. Transportation to be provided by the district, and I so move.
A motion and a second.
This is new from the other night. If there's any questions?
Does anybody have any questions on this?
So just to indicate, this is part of, and it's included under the previous motion, which is the student trips, which is why it is also included in the agenda for consideration under that section.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, then I think I had a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 22B, St. Cloud State University. Request approval of the memorandum of understanding between the St. Cloud State University and the Connellsville Area School District for student-teacher placement effective immediately and shall remain in effect until April 14, 2028. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 22C, IUP student teaching. Request approval of the student-teacher placement agreement between the Indiana University of Pennsylvania and the Connellsville Area School District for the 2023 fall semester, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 22D, St. Vincent student teacher placement. Request approval of this pre-student teaching agreement placement assignment in St. Vincent College for the spring 2023 semester, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Mongel. Mr. D'Amico. That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. And thank you for also consolidating those numbers.
I'd be asleep by now.
Moving to technology, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you. Item 23A, Chromebook sale. Request approval to authorize the sale of surplus Chromebooks at a cost of $50 to graduating seniors until June 16, 2023, and to district staff until June 30th, 2023, and to individual members of the general public thereafter on a first-come, first-served basis, with individuals being eligible to purchase 2 Chromebooks per person. And I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Martucci?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martray? Mr. Ghost?
Nothing else, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Harshman. Moving to transportation, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the following updates to the bus van driver list. Patty, Prince, Jokes, Netsko, Incorporated. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzella. Mr. Renzi? Mr. Lee?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kopenauer. Moving to President's report, request approval to continue the district membership for the 2023-24 school year with the Pennsylvania Area School Board Incorporated at an annual cost of $15,002.32, which includes membership, policy, maintenance, and administrative regulations as budgeted through board services, dues, and fees, be an increase of $526.93, and I so move. Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Just a quick note before we move into non-agenda items. A couple weeks ago, just before Easter, we were to have an Easter egg hunt. I know for 2 weeks we had some bad weather, and just before the Easter egg hunt, it looked like we were going to have bad weather again. The first thing I want to thank is Brooke Schumar. I believe she's the one that took this on and spearheaded this, what turned out to be a great thing. But I also saw a great thing in this district where the people, and I may miss somebody, but the few people that came together and wanted to make sure that this happened and worried about where it was going to be, came together and brainstormed to make sure that this could happen. And if I miss anybody, I'm sorry, but I'd like to thank Julie Alcentrino, Dr. Bradley, Jeff McWilliams, Scott Kirsch, and Dave Bigham. They thought about it, thought what would be best, parking and a place to have it, and it turned out to be a great event for all the kids, and I just wanted to thank them, and it was great they all got together to work on this. So thank you guys very much.
And just to add the flexibility of our CAMS administration and staff.
Yeah,
and their willingness to be cooperative.
Yes.
I thought that was a great sign of teamwork and family, and thank you, Mr. Panzella.
Yes, thank you guys very much. And you're right, CAMS also, I'm sorry, I did forget them. And any of the custodians that were involved, security, everybody, I heard a lot of good things about it. And it was just nice how they worried about the kids and the event, and they all worked together to make this work. So thank you very much. I've rambled enough. Moving on to public comment for non-agenda items. Sonia Bentley, notification. It says verification.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. It says notification and verification.
All right, thank you.
This has been a long meeting, so I'm not going to try to make this long or anything like that. But before I do want to do my disclaimer, reciting off of District Policy 520, which is a freedom of speech in non-instructional settings. Again, my name is Sonia Bentley. What I am expressing here today is that my own opinion. It is not the opinion of the district, which is what I've been instructed to say based on the school policy. Having said that, I have 2 very quick questions. One, there were 5 unpaid intermittent days approved by the school board this evening. Were those approved conditioned on health or medical conditions? Had the board approved those 5 tonight based on health or medical issues?
So, Ms. Bentley, we relaxed some of our public comment rules for the CTC conversation because of the style of that public comment. However, the issues you bring up are very specific personnel items. They're very specific individuals, and they are not acceptable in public comment. Thank you. Thank you.
What I would like to know is if the board is approving of the policies of the sick and personal day use. I've requested 3 times, I've emailed twice and said that upon receipt of documentation validating the board's approval of the practices from the administration, that I would gladly submit all of my doctor's excuses. I got nothing. I have not gotten anything. I've been quoted in another email that these intermittent days have long-standing practices, they're conditioned on this and that. That has never happened. It has never happened. I've gotten these days for years. And this year I happen to actually need them as you all well know, I'm coming off of cancer. So I need these days this year. But yet, people are being approved of them without the harassment that I received. So, I'm not going to get into all of that. I just want the board to know that I would like to see the protocols and practices of the administration put into writing so that the public and the employees would have more transparency from the administration that is enforcing these practices. With that being said, I have one other issue. I would like to know, as a taxpayer of this district, when first off, has the notification period for the superintendent contract, is it 90 days or is it 180? Mr. Witt?
Under the public school code, it's 90 days, and due to an amendment in the contract, it would be 90 days presently.
Okay, so when can taxpayers expect to see this added to the agenda? The only reason I'm asking is because I do know that, the sunshine law was giving you a 24-hour period. We just don't want to be snowballed like we were today with the CTC. This is a very important issue with the community. We would like to know when the superintendent contract will be added to the agenda and when it will be put for a vote.
So you're exactly right. There is the Sunshine Act, so the district obviously needs to comply with that to ensure that it is placed on the agenda for the public to know in advance. That is an item that the board will need to discuss in executive session, specifically that.
Well, I'm just asking for more transparency from our board instead of a 24-hour notice, because that is what is allotted through the sunshine law. That's all I'm asking for. So if there is an answer that I could receive this evening, that would be perfect.
You're also able to put a right to know request for
I've also done
my
that
contract.
before, too.
My contract's right to knowable, and I'd gladly, after you fill out that right to know, I'd gladly provide you with a copy of my
Well,
contract.
as a taxpayer, I'm entitled to actually see and know what that is without having to file a right to know. And so I'm just asking for the courtesy of not being blindsided next month with a 24-hour notice that the superintendent contract is going to be added to the agenda. There are people that are actively signing a petition, so I would like to know when I need to have those numbers in.
You're 3 minutes on it.
Okay, I
Mr. Witt.
understand, and I said I was going to make it
Mr. Witt has
Monday,
an
but
answer for
again,
that.
as a taxpayer, I am entitled to know that without having to file a right to know form. Thank you.
Nothing else under non-agenda items. Dr. Brown.
Thank you. Esty, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manzello. First, I'd like to yield some to our Sorry about that. I apologize for the microphones, and we endeavor to do better. We deserve better, communications to our families watching at home and our families here in the audience. First, I'd like to yield some of my time to Mr. Martre, our unofficial recognizer of retirees.
Thank you, Dr. Brad. I'd just like to thank all of our retirees for their service and wish them a very happy retirement. And also, one other thing I'd like to mention, thanks to our music department from elementary through secondary, of all the great performances we had this past year. They were really good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martre, and we always appreciate you recognizing our retirees with the kind words that you do. I'd like to also touch on 22E, alternative education. That will be part of the Sunshine notification for May 2nd. So again, we look for input and we look for the board to gather facts between now and May 2nd to make that decision, when to be completely clear about that. I want to thank the board on behalf of Dr. Coons and her team of elementary education teachers who came together to collaborate on 13A. It was a team decision and a lot of teamwork involved and a lot of hours to pick 13A as curriculum piece to actually help our elementary learners, and we look forward to some of the fruits of that labor paying off. I'd like to take a deeper dive. Mr. Kokenauer mentioned 12C, and to do 12C justice, our Career and Technical Center carpentry class on May 6th has their open house. And it's an event that really got truncated because of COVID, and we're excited to have it back. And I know Mr. Matthews is excited to have it back. We have up for auction 4 outbuildings, 4 sheds, and they're unbelievably well constructed and unbelievably containing accoutrements such as electricity, air. We have hardwood flooring. We have decks on these outbuildings, and they're great. And I encourage anybody, I'm going to ask Mr. Ghost to put the flyer on the internet if it isn't already. We'll put the flyer up on the website, and you'll see the hard work that those individuals are doing, and you'll see the fruits of their labor pay off. And what we do with those proceeds, and what Mr. Matthews does with parts of those proceeds, is supplies an initial beginner set of tools for our carpentry students, so they're able to go out into the workplace and be employable even more, knowing that if I walk into a job site, I have my own tool set. So those buildings are cool, and they're really neat, and I applaud those students' efforts and Mr. Matthews working with them. I'd like to mention our 2nd annual transition fair. This is for all of our secondary students to be a part of what goes on after high school. So if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for college placement, if you're looking for social services that will be available to you after you graduate, our 2nd annual Falcons Soaring Into Your Future Transition Fair will take place May 4th during the school day. All students will have an excused ability to be there part of the day. So it's going to take place from 11 to 1 in our auxiliary gym. And like I said, students will have the ability to be down in the auxiliary gym visiting with a variety of booths that will be present for them. I'd like to applaud Ms. Witt and her video production crew. They were the CHS juniors. Jonathan Marriott, Evan Means, and Delaney Reese attended the DMAC, which is at Robert Morris University. It's an award ceremony and film festival with Miss Irwin on Thursday, April 20th. The ceremony, Jonathan received the Founders Award for his leadership role in directing the Collinsville High School news program with the writing and directing his own original content. And you can see these awards, and I'll make sure we get something up on the internet about those awards. And the film, I had an opportunity to watch the film. I was sent a link to the 3-minute film that these students created, and it's pretty neat, fun, and interesting, the abilities of our own students here at the high school with Miss Irwin. And I apologize for messing the name up. And lastly, our last recognition, Attorney Cassini and Guyvick started a new award for all local school districts where they have a Student of the Week. In this year, the inaugural year, Attorney Cassini and Guyvick's Teen of the Year was awarded to Alexandra Huffman, and she gets a $2,500 award. And with Cassini and Guyvick, we thank them for making that available, and Alexandra will receive a $2,500 award from that local law firm, and we thank them for that. And it was all local school districts, so not just one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bradley. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.